everybody. How we doing out there? Got Doc Severson. We got Mav coming to you from California. Today is, Wednesday, the 10th of July. Welcome to Ready, Set, Live. Yeah, we got shaken out in California. It's the big one. It's the aftershock. So it must have done something to the market today. Yeah. All right. So good afternoon, everybody. Good to see everybody online. Welcome aboard. We just got a couple of things today. We've got some weakness in the markets, and it's pretty much across the board. Everybody's getting all excited about Chainlink, but quite honestly, it's just up, single digits. I don't think it's a big deal right now, but it's the only shining beacon that's out there. Everything else is getting hit kind of hard. I think the breakout on Bitcoin was a little bit premature. I've been talking about in the newsletter lately that we just we have an exhausted weekly chart, and it could use a little bit more time before it breaks out to get a nice. We did get a 61.8% retracement back in the beginning of July, and that almost was good enough, but it could use another week or two just rolling around here to really set up the next move. So what you got out there in California, Mav?
Well, I want to bring back one of these traditions we used to do on our webinars. Where's everybody coming in from? We do these kind of all over the place and not all over the times, but crypto never sleeps, and it's a worldwide thing. So comment in where you guys are coming in from, and if it's like 5 a.m. in the morning or whatever, I really appreciate you guys getting on with us to have a little bit of fun and talk a little bit of crypto. Hopefully you're not too depressed with the 1,000-point move to the downside we just had, but it's going to be okay, guys, I think.
Well, we got people from Tejas, we got Bucharest, we got Colorado, Las Vegas, another one from Tejas. The stay-at-home dad is from Rhode Island, South London, Brazil, Florida, Phoenix, Spain, Montreal. I love this. I mean, it's like, one of the things about crypto is it really does tie the world together. And, we're seeing that just in the audience that we have today. So we are we're located right now. I'm in the middle, smack dab in the middle of Ohio in the United States. And Mav is coming to you from Los Angeles, California. So shaking and baking out there. Hey, we're actually, it's 90 degrees. It's 90 degrees Fahrenheit today. I don't know what the conversion is to that, but 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
Hot.
And we broke above 13,000 today, and we're sucking it back to 12,000 right now in BTC. It is not the end of the world. It is a rather large range candle. And like I said before, nothing else is really moving. So there's a little bit of profit taking today. Like I said, I think the breakout was real above 12,000. However, it might have been a little premature looking at the weekly chart. This might end up just creating a throwover. Either case, it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Oh man, wow, we really do have like a very worldwide audience here. This is awesome. Cool. All right, I'm going to quickly just go through something for like 5 minutes. It's going to be kind of boring, but honestly, guys, I feel like you have to. It's security. It's really boring, I know, but it's something that we've been talking a little bit about in our Omnia channels and just recently, because it's something I feel like we have to talk about and make sure that we get down. So basically, I'm gonna run through this really quickly, do a little bit of screen share here. Hopefully I get this right. Oh man. Oh yeah. Okay. Sweet. Awesome. All right. So in the description below, you should be able to see a couple links. It's stuff from our security and wallets class, basically. And all this really is trying to help you formulate a plan, a mindset around security so that you make it a priority. I mean, making a mindset of anything should be a priority, but especially when it comes to security for your crypto assets, staying one step or however many steps ahead of those attackers, those guys out there that want to take your money. This is what you need to do. You need to take the time to sit down and say, like, all right, this is my plan. Here are the vectors that I anticipate people might come at me from. Here's the ways I'm going to protect myself. Honestly, security is a spectrum. It's a spectrum between absolute security on one side and convenience in the other. And you need to have a plan that works for you. You need to have something that you will continually adhere to like I said, a mindset rather than just a, hey, I've got a couple ideas here, a couple ways to, lock away my crypto and then I'm going to forget about it. No, you need to take the time to actually think through this, because if you are going to operate as your own bank, which you definitely should be doing, holding your own keys in crypto, then you also need to take the time to, I don't know, act like a bank and secure that crypto, secure the money. So, this is, I know this is kind of blasé. I know this is kind of like, oh, okay, great, talking about big ideals and mindsets here. But this stuff is really important to me because it's so easy to just gloss over this kind of stuff and say, oh, yeah, okay, I'll just, there's another document that, little worksheet that, that it goes in the hopper. But no, I think this is something that you really do need to make a priority, because there's many different ways that you can implement security. But again, it comes back to the mindset. How are you implementing that security? How are you, towing the spectrum of convenience to absolute security? Are you going to be using a VPN? Are you going to be using a password manager? YubiKey, for example. There's many different ways you can implement this stuff, but like, make sure that it's in a way that you are going to adhere to. So anyways, these are all in the description. Highly recommend you just kind of check them out. Take a couple minutes to look through them. Just take some time to better understand your own security situation. Maybe test a couple of those loopholes that, or I don't know, just go through it all again and make sure everything is good to go. Guys, I'm just doing this because I care about you guys. I care about you being a part of this industry, and I care about you not getting hacked and just having your entire crypto wallet, like just out in the door and you're done. If you lose your capital in that way, there's nothing you can do to get it back. And it sucks. I've talked to many people that have, had that happen to them, and it's the worst thing. You don't want to be in that situation. So just take the time, make sure you have something in place. That's my 5 minutes. Thank you for sticking with me. I know that was a little bit boring in some sense, but it's something that matters. And it's something I want to talk about as much as I can, because I feel like it's not really talked about enough in this space, which is really kind of crazy to me, because this is a space that, is about cryptography and like, making sure that you have ownership of your own assets. And if you're not taking the time to like properly secure it, then what are you doing? So anyways, all right, let's get back to the markets, because that's kind of the hot stuff.
No, I would never apologize for offering guidance to people for something like that, because, guys, when it comes down to it, the folks that last a career in this business are those that do exactly that. It's like building a house and saying, well, to hell with that foundation. Don't worry about digging a footer. That's just a waste of time. Don't worry about the foundation. Just stack some bricks up there and we'll be good. Start with a second floor. That's what most people want. Most people want to know the answer to when moon and when can I get rich doing this. They're unwilling to do the blocking and tackling that is so necessary to keep this. I mean, in much the same way that Mav always talks about, security, best practices, things like that. I'm on the other side of the spectrum going, don't dare enter a position unless you've already defined an exit for it, because that is the number one, by far the number one thing that robs people of their capital, is all of a sudden it starts going in a different direction than you anticipated. You don't know what the hell to do. You're a deer in the headlights. And 6 months later, you're like, why didn't I sell out on that thing? Well, if you just had a clearly defined exit first, all you're doing is just identifying, following your plan. It's that simple. Really, a lot of, 90% of this business is fairly simple. It's just getting past your own mental blocks, that confirmation bias that you get, that thinking like, so-and-so said this on Twitter, so maybe I should change my mind. I should change my plan. No. It's all about coming up with, I apologize if you guys are hearing that alert. I cannot figure out how the hell to get rid of it, but that will happen before the next time that we do this. Okay, so let's, we've talked about the markets a little bit. Hopefully you guys, I just posted a video about an hour and a half ago on options being paid for the pullback. And I hope you guys get a chance to watch it. This is way, way, way early in the cycle of where I think things are. I talked at the beginning of this year, I said 2019 is going to be the year of the crypto derivative. And so far, that's come to be the case. We have seen 6 straight months of just release after release after release of futures broker. So we got Bex Plus and Prime XBT, and of course, BitMEX has been out there for a couple of years now. We've got all these. I can't even keep track of the number of futures vendors that are out there. Some have come, some have not been able to come to market. Those that shall be not be named, that we've already talked about at great length. But now I think what you'll start to see is a quick move under 12,000. That's what you'll start to see. You'll start to see options coming into play. Now, options are what drives the equity markets. Options and futures are what drives the equity markets, both kind of hand in hand. What options are used for in the equity markets is risk management, risk control. It's not gambling. It's not, the options are risky thing that you've probably heard of before. It is about risk management. And if you use them for the purposes of risk management and income generation, then you're doing it the right way. This is what the institutions are waiting for. We are waiting for institutional volume. The more volume, the bigger the party, the tighter the spreads. It's always a good thing. So watch for that. I'm going to be starting to do more and more information on that. I'm giving a mini class in the Omnia Trade School this Friday. So for those of you that are Omnia members, welcome aboard. Hello. Good to see you guys. We'll see you on Friday. And so look for more of that information. I'm going to just start crawling up the hill here with options. And I know it's a long journey with a lot of people to understand options, understand how to get past them. There are literally thousands of ways to lose money in options. There's maybe a dozen ways to make money with options. It's a minefield. But what separates people is knowledge. So that's after trading options for the last, what's it been now, 15 years. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of opportunity to it, but you got to do it the right way.
Doc, you have a lot of notifications going on.
I do? Where?
No. Yeah, I think something I'm seeing just a lot of recently is sort of this notion that we're either going to see like an altcoin market or just a lot of the same sort of rhetoric and mechanisms and just the same sort of 2017 ICO market stuff. This stuff kind of drives me crazy because we're in a different market now. This is a different space and you need to recognize that. So stuff that Doc is talking about, like the move towards derivatives, options, that sort of stuff. As institutional players enter the space, as the space becomes more legitimate, this is the stuff that you're going to need to pay attention to. If you continue to just try to do the same thing over and over again, like trying to go after those hot, cheap alts, you're going to find yourself just kind of more and more and more disappointed. Maybe you'll get those occasional moonshots here and there, but it's just not going to justify the pain and the time that it takes to, chase that crap, basically. So yeah, guys, I think it's important that you do take the time to master certain things and get good at certain things, but also stay flexible, especially in a space like this that is changing so much every single day. Yeah, it's both exciting, but it's also like, man, it is kind of exhausting to keep up with. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, there's some, I think there are legitimate projects, but for the most part, we're going to stay looking at stuff that's, pretty well established, pretty well, clearly has use cases or, a good team, top 50, basically. There's still maybe here and there an occasional really interesting little moonshot potential coin. But for me, what I'm more interested in is like the long-term vision of this industry, the projects that have permanence, the stuff that can survive and thrive, basically. We're still just in the first inning of, this industry. The first, this is barely scratching the surface here. So yeah, buckle up, guys.
Rizo's giving me a hard time. It's just, I sat there for 5 minutes before today's call, like, Okay, how do I get notifications off of Chrome? And if you guys can figure it out, let me know. I'll try to do what I can, but it's like I cannot find notifications on Chrome for the life of me right now. So I'll get it fixed before the next time. It
Yeah.
is, it's a challenge. You get a little older, stuff stops working. You know how it is. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see if any other questions here that we can.
We're getting a couple of questions about Litecoin, and I would love to talk about that for a sec.
All right, go for it.
We're what, like 20, was it 28 or 25, less than a month away from the Litecoin halving event. So you're definitely going to hear about Litecoin more and more and more. But here, I had this pulled up. Oh man. All right.
Do it.
But the thing is, as we've been watching, especially since BTC has started to break out, really, yeah, and maybe I don't have it up. Yes, got it. All right, cool. So you can see here, this is just a very simple little, this is a correlation chart of just, I plotted, BTC, LTC, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, EOS, BNB, just kind of random smattering. The thing to note is the red line there, where that's LTC, the correlation between Litecoin and Bitcoin in terms of price. As you can see, around the May area, they start to become less and less correlated, breaking through that 80% threshold right around the beginning of May. What this should tell you is that it's good for a asset to be breaking correlation from Big Daddy Bitcoin, especially today when it's hovering between 65 and 68% market dominance. It's clearly the big dog on the block, and anything that can stand aside from it, that's cool. However, if you actually look at the price of what's going on with Litecoin, it's not positively correlating away from Bitcoin. It's negatively doing so. So as BTC is just going through the roof, Litecoin is throwing stuff at the wall, So it's important to recognize that's the current state of things. Absolutely, things can change over the next month, but at the same time, what I kind of anticipate is that BTC is the news. BTC is the one breaking all-time highs in terms of hash rate, in terms of well, not market dominance, but it's clearly the market leader right now. And yes, we might see a little bit of an LTC pump, but it's going to be immediately followed by a dump, if not preceding the halving event. So all that said, yeah, there's probably a profit opportunity with LTC, but at the same time, I'd rather just stick with Bitcoin. That seems to be doing pretty well, and I kind of anticipate doing the same in the future. I don't know. It's definitely, there's different ways to play this. There's also a question about kind of the purpose of coins like that. And look, at this point, my feelings on payment solutions, cryptocurrencies in general, is where's the market, guys? We're 10 years into this experiment, and it's really cool that we have this space. But at the same time, payments is just one use case. Blockchain is very multifaceted. And in my opinion, we're going to see usage adoption in other areas before we see mainstream payment, like payment solution adoption. It's just a really hard industry to break into. And yes, we have some like really awesome, just competitive advantage kind of stuff, but convincing people on a mass market scale like that is going to take time. And, guys like Visa and MasterCard and everybody with, merchant solutions, it's a hard market to break into. And like my video earlier today with like real estate and tokenization of that I think is going to be a little bit easier-ish, because the I don't know, the benefits are a little bit more spelled out, and you don't really have to change much. Blockchain cryptocurrency adoption requires kind of a paradigm shift of how we do this sort of stuff. So yeah, I think there's still use for it. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it's gonna take time. And that's what I need to stress to people. So anyways, yeah, okay. Man, we're getting some good questions.
I'm going to do a little screen share here. And we're seeing a little little bit of movement on BTC right now. And let's bring out the magic pen. So one of the things, people are going to look at a move like this and go, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And start, and you can see it in the chat room right now. You can see it within the chat on this video. You can see people saying, "Should I sell? Should I buy? What should I do?" And that is a reactive approach to things, and that is not going to lead to profits for you. You have to anticipate how you're going to react to this based on what your plan is. If you don't have a plan in the market, you're going to be reacting to something and you'll be part of the herd. So what I'm looking at this on the 5-hour chart right now, which is right up here. Okay. And Mav, you can't see this because I got the magic pen out, but what I'm looking for is, as long as this prints a higher low than down here, which is 11,000, then everything's good. Now we did break out of this descending trend line. So sometimes you will see a retest of that trend line before it takes off again. But it looks like, based on the volume on this breakout, that we just didn't have enough bullish volume on the breakout. That's, so people just took profits, and all of a sudden the bears loaded up and said, "Thank you very much." So this is just normal volatility for something like this. But the other thing that I would say, and I'll go ahead and get rid of this here. So as long as it holds above 11,000, then the uptrend is still intact on at least the 5-hour chart, right? But, okay, there we go. The other thing I would say is, like, Mav just made a case for more of the fundamental side of things, right? Of looking for things that are going to be long-term plays and adjusting your portfolio, et cetera, right? So that's the way that a lot of people like to play the markets. I'm a different cat. I'm basically a trader. Now, when I trade the equity markets, I do very little of, like, looking for the needle in the haystack, trying to find what's going to be the hot stock for the next year, those kind of things. That is all for the TV commercials and all that crap. I trade the S&P 500. Instead of looking for a needle in the haystack, I trade the whole haystack all at once. I trade the S&P 500. I trade maybe the NASDAQ futures. That's it. And I can trade them up, down, sideways. I can trade them through any method. Becoming an expert in one thing, I think, has been very beneficial over the years. By the same token, if I'm trading something in crypto, these days, I'm going to focus on one thing, and that's going to be Bitcoin. If I'm going to trade futures, it's going to be on Bitcoin. If I'm going to trade options, it's going to be on Bitcoin right now. Accumulating assets for longer term, more than likely on Bitcoin. Don't be afraid to be a specialist in this. So that is kind of just a different viewpoint. I'm not saying I'm right and Mav is wrong. It depends on your approach and the way that you want to handle things. And really, it has to resonate with your own internal sense of risk and reward.
Someone's calling me Chris Hemsworth. Hello, sweet rabbit. There's a question about, like, if I do believe in any altcoins right now. We've brought on another member of Ready Set Crypto. His name's Checkmate. He's smarter than I am, I'll admit it. But he does, like, very deep dive stuff. And currently his favorite project is Decred. I'm not going to really go into it because I don't really believe in sort of unsubstantiated kind of shilling like that. But from what I've seen, it's a really cool project. Yeah, check it out. Let's see. There's also, like, a really good question about where we could see, like, adoption of blockchain in replacement of, like, fiat, like central bank fiat coins or something like that. And yeah, that like has been something that I've thought about basically since I've got into crypto. And actually, Crypto AM, which is like another newsletter. Great guy. He's really smart too. I know you shouldn't really, like, plug other people's services on your own stream or whatever, but, like, he does a really good job. So, like, it's like cryptoam.substack.com. His newsletter yesterday talked about China starting to, like, really do a deep dive into this, and it just totally makes sense to me because they're already implementing, like, the social credit system. Why wouldn't they, like,
Does he look like Thor too?
No.
No? Maybe we're going to have to get you a hammer So it's that shark has jumped already, man. It's like now we're getting rid of Mav. It's going to be Thor.
Oh man.
Hey, Doc and Thor here at Ready Set Crypto.
Oh man, that's what Crypto Beatles calls me every time he sees me. It's hilarious. Yeah, but like, yeah, this is the thing. I think this is where we're gonna see like as we're starting to see in the private sector things like Libra coin and Coinbase is now talking about doing insurance. The point I was making last month when I was talking a lot about like Libra and all this sort of stuff is that big tech companies are coming in and they're realizing the power of combining finance and their already well-established tech stack. Uh, Basically, data. Data is the new oil. Debt is the new money, and this is where we're going to see a lot of that crossover or whatever. Like while we're doing this in the private sector, public sector, well, I guess more authoritarian type governments are going to, I believe, experiment with blockchain. Like China hates cryptocurrency, but they love blockchain because the ability to track every transaction like that. Yeah, it's technology is like that. It's not good or bad. It's the amplifier of intent. And it's kind of unfortunate that like as we're trying to, push for this egalitarian, free market system where nobody controls the central issuance and whatever, you can turn around and do the like the negative pejorative way of approaching that sort of power, I guess. But anyways, yeah, it's crypto's a really interesting topic. Okay, so let's see. RC Thor. Yeah, okay.
It's done. You're branded, dude.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, gee.
Hey,
Man,
I did figure out how to shut off the notifications. Thank God.
authoritarian. Oh my God.
Thor here. There we go.
On with the puns today.
Yeah, the puns are gonna keep on coming, man. Okay.
Jeez.
Any other questions? Anything else that we don't want to take up your time today and just bloviate on here. So let us know if there's anything serious, non-religious that you want to cover today. And we will be happy to.
I do want to make this point that I made. We have like a little private Omnia call with our Omnia members every Monday, and we were kind of talking about like the state of the global economy and sort of the crypto economy as well. Crypto economy. Wow, that kind of sounds more than it really is. Anyways, the crypto markets. Remember a year ago where we were, guys? Like what was going on? What were we talking about? It was like all about the Bitcoin ETF, and if we're going to see sort of this, I don't know, like institutional adoption. Backed came out like right at the beginning of August, I think. Just like it. Remember this sort of euphoria that was kind of inherent in that, and how like really shallow it was. Think where like we were then, and how much we've gone even just in a year from then. Like how much more substantive the space has become. We have like huge announcements going on every day that I feel like really eclipse a lot of the stuff that was going on last year. And yet it's still kind of just like, crypto, it's just, yeah, it's doing whatever. Bitcoin's hitting 13, 14K. Man, no worries. It's not much is going on because not many people are still looking at the space. I think we're still just really in the early times of this, guys. So yeah, the point I'm trying to make is just that like the next couple of years are just going to be crazy, absolutely crazy. And for like different reasons than like what 2017 was or 2014 or whatever. It's going to be a different market. It's going to operate under different forces. Don't expect, like the thing I was seeing today on the cryptocurrency subreddit is like, oh yeah, we just hit 65% BTC dominance. That's what we had in December of 2017. So, obviously correlation means causation, right? And we're going to see like BTC just like absolutely dump and it's going to become an altcoin rally. No, I'm sorry to break it to you, but it's just not going to happen that way. I mean, maybe we'll get some altcoin action. That might be cool. But again, I just don't see the fundamentals in place to really sustain that sort of stuff. The market just is very different, guys. So anyways, yeah, long, good-winded kind of rant there. make sure if there's any other good questions. Take it away, Doc.
Yeah, there's people are asking about longer term. Well, first of all, people are saying what's going to happen next with Bitcoin. I
Hmm.
don't know. So I will always say that I don't know what's going to happen next. It's for the market to show us what it wants to do. It's for us to come up with levels to make decisions around. So I thought that was a good question, though, that said, what are the important levels that need to be defended? So if we go out to a weekly chart, this is just one big uber swing to the upside with hardly any pause to it whatsoever. Now, I could throw some other indicators on here and show that this is somewhat an exhaustion. We could also put fibs on here. We were talking about this in the Omnia Discord channel today about the fact that the price has come up to the 61.8% retracement. So this is the 61.8. I'm going to scroll this on there, but the 61.8% retracement, which is quite honestly a good place for it to pause, maybe, because typically once it gets past that, it's going to fill in the whole triangle. So I still believe it will fill in the whole triangle. We're going to see 20K plus at some point, but quite correctly, let's determine what the levels need to be to make sure that we're going to fill this. You can just look at this and quite clearly see that the pivot highs, okay, so the pivot high, if we're just looking at this, pivot high is around 5,500, okay, so that's the first pivot high. Second pivot high is 9,000, okay. Next pivot high is 14,000. They're getting bigger. So what I want to see this hold is the 9,000 pivot high. So any drop from here needs to hold the 9,000 pivot high. I'm okay if it goes all the way back down there and retest that level. I'm totally okay with that. And I still have a resting order sitting at 9,100. And it may get hit. That would be awesome. So for some of you, yes, I do a little bit of hodling, but most of what I'm actively doing is trading. So this gives you a little bit more structure that these are the pivot levels that need to be held in order. And again, Mav, you can't see this, but just pretend like you can. Those levels need to be held. Now, if I start to see the daily chart making a series of lower highs and lower lows, that's okay because that's a corrective pattern on the weekly chart, which it desperately needs to do right now. The weekly chart's gotten way ahead of itself. And this is a market that does need to rest and pause and pull in some negative sentiment, because the way that markets operate is one step back, two steps forward. Needs a step back right now. It's okay. And so during this, you actually may have a little mini alt season that happens. So I'm not going to say that it's alt season, but the fact that if Bitcoin goes soft, you're going to see, there we go. If Bitcoin goes soft, you're going to see the alts somewhat raise just because the denominator in all these, the base currency, is going to weaken. So naturally it should, even if it goes flat, they should raise. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Those are key levels for me.
I mean, for me, I'm just waiting for that Peter Schiff interview, or he's getting debated. I think it's today. I was looking on Twitter. Basically, he's challenging people to debate him and see if they can convince him to buy Bitcoin, or be convinced by Bitcoin or whatever. He's sort of a dinosaur, but yeah, I think this is we're at the point right now, 10 years into this grand experiment of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. We've proven that digital assets have value. It's, people argue about that, but I think what's going to be proven over and over again is the need for things like cryptocurrencies, blockchain-based technology, both in terms of retaining value, but also, expanding it to different use cases that we talk about. So yeah, for me, I think the longer term trend is intact, and this market, it's going to be volatile for a long time, but the space represents change. It's at the forefront of what's going on right now with technology and just innovation and progress. So, I mean, that's where I want to be. So let's take another question or two, and then we'll maybe some final thoughts. Yeah. All right, maybe he is a hypocrite. Oh man. Yeah, anything to get clicks, I guess. Oh yeah. Yeah, stay-at-home dad knows his type 1 civilization stuff. What is it? Like once we had the internet, we were like type 1 point or point 0.5 or something like that. I don't know. It's been a while since I've read all that stuff, but it's interesting stuff. Yeah.
Well, just on a related sideline here, Jerome Powell has gotten through testimony with who runs the Financial Services Committee, Maxine Waters.
Yeah.
So he has survived his tenure, his time in the barrel with Maxine Waters today. So apparently the market liked what it heard. I continue to look at the equity markets as more than likely heading higher in the near term, which is the exact opposite of what everybody is saying. That's because there is no other form of yield that's out there right now. With them dropping rates, it's the party will continue for a little while longer. Yeah, it's probably going to get ugly at some point someday, but that's not before we may rip off another 30% rally to the upside. It's not what I want. I don't care which way it goes, right? It's not what I particularly want or care for. It's just what I've seen happen before. So that will affect, I believe that will positively affect the cryptocurrency, because I think BTC will be viewed as a source of yield as well too, especially if they can sell options against it. Have either of us bought anything with Bitcoin? Yeah, we
Yeah.
bought quite a bit. We bought services with Bitcoin. We've bought technology with Bitcoin. Several things.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
actually. I mean, a lot of people accuse us of being hypocrites because right now you can't even buy any services off of us with Bitcoin. It's really, really difficult. It breaks our website when we try to bring on Bitcoin services. So I know that's not a good excuse, but it's just, we're trying to keep up a stable service, and WordPress goes ape.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's sort of like a recurring question about like XRP, Cardano, all these dApps that are out there and if they have value. All basically the same sort of question. Like my response is like, show me the value, show me what it's doing. That proves to me that it gives people value and that they're gonna, continue to come back to. And where's the revenue, basically? Where's the product? That's what's important to me right now. It's all well and good to have long-term objectives and to be working towards them, but yeah, this is such a nascent industry that the client customer pool is still very low, that it's all about sort of like what you can do today. Oh my gosh, like if you ask about QDAO like one more time. All right, I was just looking at it. It's a decentralized stable asset. Cool. It now joins what? There's like 80 stable coins out there. Don't get me wrong, I love stable coins. I think they're a cornerstone of this industry, and they need to be there to form the bridge between the legacy system and this one. But yeah, I think people have been shilling QDAO because there's a referral or something. So, oops. um, Darth Mark, I'll just repeat the answer I gave a little bit ago. Checkbait has been talking a lot about Decred, and that seems to be the one that I'm most interested in right now. Honestly, I'm just kind of like in a holding pattern with a lot of alts. I still believe in stuff like Neo. It's cool. They're working hard, but it's going to take a while for them to get the sort of adoption and clients that like Ethereum have, and even Ethereum is kind of struggling with purpose right now. So it's just a very nebulous early stage. Yeah, it's for me right now. It's mostly about Bitcoin. It's mostly about holding Bitcoin. It's mostly about just like keeping steady, just playing the market, because that's what the market's doing right now, guys. When it starts to go back into altcoin season, whenever that happens, if it happens, that's when I'll be like, all right, let's take some time, let's build a good, really good altcoin portfolio like this. But guys, right now, like what Doc tells you, watch the price, listen to the price. It's all about Bitcoin. Like this was the same problem or I don't know, I think I heard back in 2017 between like sort of September to December, where like Bitcoin went ape and everybody else was just kind of like doing nothing. And like everybody was just kind of like, ah, man, well, I guess I could have, uh, like I should be in Bitcoin right now, but I want to speculate on these hot, cheap alts. And then, yeah, of course, it flipped. And, December, we had, Bitcoin as sort of like, the class dunce and like everybody else was having a party. That was fun. But like at the same time, that's because that's what the market did. So yeah, I guess the point could be made that like you could be going just ham on some alts right now and like trying to buy them up and hopes that it like goes 30x to the upside when the market turns around. But in the meantime, you're just going to be wasting money. You're just going to be throwing money into a pit that like, do you even know if it's going to get a return? Like I said earlier, all I'm really concerned about right now is the top 50 and whatever proves to me that it has value, it has some sort of competitive advantage, some way to stand out from, kind of red ocean that we're starting to see in this space. That is what's important right now. When the market starts to change, when the ecosystem starts to move towards being, again, a more diverse market, when we get away from 65% dominance, that's when I'll start to talk about that sort of stuff more. But for right now, all I care about is just sort of like what's cool about it, what's unique. So, anyways, yeah, you guys get me going.
He's got a big key in the back, and you just wind it up and watch it go.
Yeah,
mine's a little worn out. I mean, you want to get me fired up on something, you talk to me about, like the thing that kills me is I would challenge most of you that are on today's call, like, where did you get your investing education from? And I bet most people have not really thought about that very much. But I would contend that most people have learned most of what they know about investing from commercials or ads or some other form of mass media, telling you what to do. And, because I see and hear the same things coming in all the time, like, we need a well-diversified portfolio and we need this and we need that and we need, and it all is just like parroting the same ads that I've heard for years. We need to use the research to find those high quality stocks and those kind of things. Like, guys, the market doesn't work like that anymore. It's all completely changed once they started printing money and making this into a big musical chairs game. So the world is different. Don't be afraid to specialize. Don't be afraid to specialize in just one or two things. Become a master of those one or two things. And you don't have to learn anything else. You don't have to be a jack of all trades out there. You'll be a master of none.
Oh man, yeah, we get some good comments today.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. This has been a really good conversation. I appreciate you guys. It's been pretty civil today, so that's good. I feel like people are a little bit more civil when like things are going down, and maybe that's kind of unfortunate, but but yeah, hopefully the overall theme here is that it's okay. We're doing okay. I mean, this is month number 19 of what is still kind of a bear cycle. So yeah, it's okay for things to still be kind of in a holding pattern. Just so long as you, regarding security, regarding investing, regarding trading, having a mindset, having a plan, that's going to put you ahead of a lot of people. And yeah, we want to make sure that you're acting based on reason and logic and just some sort of semblance of a plan. And that just will help you avoid those beginner mistakes, or even expert mistakes.
Cool. Well, I think we're I think we're good here. So wanted to thank everybody. And again, for those of you that are Omnia members, I will see you guys on Friday morning, probably 11 o'clock Eastern. And then we'll do the next version of our options class, and we'll just keep cranking it up. Eventually, I'm going to turn that into a master class. So that will be a full treatment, the full-blown Monty on that one. So, hey, everybody, thanks for hanging out with us here. And we're going to split. So thanks, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
Have a good week, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Cheers.